Yeah, hello and welcome to Continental engagement campaign on the internal Continental social media platform Connext. My name is Ingo Stoll and I'm grateful to be your host on our last common session on talking about recaps and appreciation, because this is video number 5 already. And with me today are Miss Ariane Reinhart, I can say Ariane, and Dirk Siebels. You both have been in the first take already, and now we do the recap together. Now it's Dirk in person and not on the beam, as you may remember.
I think he looks much better in person. Doesn't he?
Thank you. I totally agree. So, it has been a long journey during the last weeks. So, Ariane, what is your personal recap on the campaign?
So, first of all, thank you, Ingo, to hosting us again here. It's always a pleasure to be here in your rooms. And I have to say, we were very close in contact the last weeks. It's 3 months, we started on the 5th of September, so it's more or less 3 months. And it's incredible what happened in the last 3 months. And this is because thanks to the colleagues all around the world. And I'm really astonished, and it gives me a great pleasure, what kind of effect this campaign had, Dirk. It's like, it's incredible how many participation in the way how people communicated together, because I was visiting every day the blogs and looking in what is going on, the way how they communicated, very much continental culture, very appreciative, full of trust, and in a very nice way. But I think of utmost importance is the engagement numbers which we had.
Yeah, they are very overwhelming, and to my understanding, this is by far the most successful campaign that we had on Connext due to HR topics, at least in numbers.
Maybe even in general.
Maybe even in general. To give you a number, we had more than 94,000 downloads of the data, including the video. 94,000 in a company that has 220,000 employees. So this is very overwhelming, and I can only agree. I really liked the discussion. I liked the contributions. It's very valuing, and it is very constructive, and we are all heading into the same and right direction. So I'm pretty happy.
And one more number, we have more than 10,000 community members.
Yes.
Also, this is quite astonishing.
Exactly.
And this is always, when I see what Continental has and resources and talents and ideas, you can see it. There are so many good ideas and practical examples which we are now gathering to really also make categories, to bring this back also in the locations, to see what we can do and how we can react on them. But it's really great to see the kind of creativity, but also the will to change things. Yeah, was for me one of the most pleasant things.
Yeah, so maybe we just take a look on the key learnings. And with regards to this internal communication experiment, has been the first time on Connext. So, and of course, your key learnings on your willingness to engage in an open, free flow dialogue. So, Ariane, what would you say? What is your key learning you take out of this campaign?
In fact, this is one of our change initiatives, our transformation initiatives. You remember, we enable transformation. This is one of our management areas and fields. And when we were discussing this in the HR community, we said from the beginning, we want to involve our people, our colleagues, bottom up. And that's why we said, okay, how can we do this? And of course, we have this wonderful tool of Connext. And then I said, let's ask our people. They know best what they want, what could be the ideas. And that's why we were deciding for Connext. And I think, from my point of view, Dirk, it went even better than I thought of.
Yeah, by far. Yes, this was an experiment. And to be quite honest, there were some people discussing, should we have such an uncontrolled discussion?
As always.
Because we don't know what the people say, and this is exactly what we want them to do, because one of our corporate values is trust, and we trust our people.
And the freedom to act.
And freedom to act, exactly. And we want our people to speak out, to share their opinions, to have the trust that they can share their opinions. And I think the result is exactly proving us right. And I think this is a good example for future campaigns as well.
Yeah, for future campaigns, and even more so, I think, for how we can work together in the future, because this company is really depending on a network culture. We have to be more agile, we have to be more, innovative, we have to connect the dots, we have to work as one Continental in a network, and I think this tool really helps us to be, so to say, ahead of the game if we all use it, and I think this is the most important thing, that we really all have to use it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we discussed during the last 3 months 3 topics on flexible working conditions. So if we have a look for the recap on the first topic we discussed, it was mobile work. So Dirk, what was the major outcome about mobile work discussions on our platform?
Well, first of all, maybe mobile work is the most discussed topic, and maybe the topic that really, triggers emotions. And we had intensive discussions, we had very good discussions, we had some concerns. I think what it boils down to is that people want to have the possibility to work more flexible, and this normally means also more mobile. Of course, this is not possible right now for all of our employees. For instance, in some areas of production this will be difficult, but we're working on this as well. And the questions that we discussed were more about the practical topics. So how does mobile work impact the team aspect? So if someone works only mobile, so how can he integrate in the team? And this is an important aspect as well, because work is not just an activity. We say work is not a place, it's an activity, but at the same time, work is a social aspect. And the working team is a social team as well. So we need to balance this, but we are very trustful into our leaders and to our people, because they really show in this campaign that they are grown-ups and that they can discuss that within the team and figure out how it works best for the specific team. This is one of the main aspects. Then we had some concerns and some questions. Wouldn't we have more interfaces? Would it be more difficult? Would we lose efficiency in mobile working? And this is where we had a good discussion. We had one opinion and the other. At the end of the day, science shows that mobile work can even increase productivity.
And I just give you an example out of the practice. When I see my people, my direct reports, they are everywhere in the world, and I don't feel that I'm losing track or I'm losing contact. And we have, every day we have contact via SMS, via email, via Connex, or we even take the phone and we talk. Yeah, even that. Yes, old school. But I think once in a while it's really important that the team gets together, also physically, and that we have our one-to-ones once in a while physically, and that there is really also a kind of social connection, which is really important for the team. But in general, I think from my point of view, it really, really works well. And so I have a lot of trust that, people get accustomed to this.
Yes, if I may add to this, I think this is an important point. We have all the technology and all the structures, processes to make it happen. It's on us, on the leaders, on the teams, to gather out in which kind of culture and how we want to work together. The technology is there. We have everything we need. We just need to do it.
And I think one point has to be, we have to be aware of why it's so important, because it's a question of self-determination. Flexibility, mobile work means, self-determination for the people. We all know if we can self-determine things, we are more happy, because, it's our freedom to act and we do it. And I think that's why it's so important, because in the end we want to have happy and satisfied employees. Yeah?
So we will see more mobile work, most probably.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will see more mobile work. And from what we see from the implementation of the project, everybody who is working on this project is extremely positive about that. And first, when we started the discussion, some people said, okay, mobile work's a fine thing, but doesn't work for my area, independent of the area. And then we started the discussion, and we started a structured discussion on what triggers the question if flexibility mobile work works for a specific job. And it's about how mobile can be the job, what kind of equipment do I need, what kind of equipment do I have, what kind of time freedom do I have, and so on and so on. And this is how we had a discussion to more and more structure in this discussion. And the more structured this discussion was and the less fuzzy, the better the outcome was. And then the people said, hey, it works. Really, it works.
And you see, Dirk, on top we have lots of examples already around the world where it's working. And we have to bring the examples together. Yesterday I talked to somebody who is not with Continental, and she couldn't even believe that we are doing this for 21 countries, for 90% of our workforce. So it was really, and I think it's more in people's heads. The first say, oh, it's impossible. And I think this we have to break through to say, okay, everything is possible. We have to find ways, structures, and then let's do it. And I have to say, and that's again, I already sent an email to my board colleagues, and I also told them to thank their teams, that this is because we have this unique company culture, this unique leadership culture here at Continental. And once again, thank you to everybody who really is supporting this. And I never had anybody so far telling me this is impossible and this is bullshit. I think this is the right thing we're doing, and we all believe in it.
Right.
Well, and, and the positive examples can be shared on Connext, right? So it's a good platform to give more proof of that it's possible. And sometimes it's just like, I thought it was possible, then I saw somebody doing it. So okay. So let's focus maybe on the second topic we discussed, and this was the topic of part-time and flex-time work. So, Dirk, what would you say what were the key learnings in regard to part-time and flex-time work?
Well, one of the questions that we asked regarding part-time was, do you consider part-time being a career killer? Because we would obviously don't want part-time to be a career killer, quite the opposite is true. And the discussion went quite positive. I was very positively impressed how this discussion went, and people say, no, it's not a career killer. So, of course, some managers still are not too much in favor of part-time. The closer to production you get, the more maybe. But at the end of the day, part-time can also be improvement of productivity. Then there was a question, if you do part-time and job sharing, how do you manage the interfaces, and don't you lose productivity in the interfaces? And there the discussion went in the direction, yes, that might be true, but on the other hand, you gain productivity out of, you have two resources available, and they can step in for each other, they work together, they collaborate, and this gives you a strong advantage as well. So all in all, this discussion was very positive as well.
They are natural sparring partners.
Exactly. And we see this. We have good examples already in the organization. Also, with job sharing, also on as executive level, and why not in the future also on senior executive level, where we have, by the way, already also people who work part-time, even reporting to the board member. So it's possible even on a top level, having a top career, working part-time. So everything is, so to say, available. We have to foster it more, in particular the question of job sharing. They also see a big chance for the production line, and also in the next step when we have to combine flexibility part-time also with learning opportunities. I think there we have a lot of chances to bring this together.
Exactly. I think what we do with flexibility here is a good step forward already, and it brings us really to eyes height with our competition when it comes to flexible working conditions and to our employer branding proposal in this dimension.
Maybe even a step ahead.
Maybe even a step ahead.
Because we're the only ones doing this worldwide for everybody.
Exactly. But at the same time, the big advantage of the structure that we use is that we can use this as a toolbox to foster and drive other topics. Like you said, qualification and training. Like you said, innovation. It can be something that we can foster with that as well and support with that. And I think we will see a lot of things, let's say mushrooms growing out of this flexibility soil, and we can have a lot of use cases out of what we already started and out of what we have planted now.
So one more thing you discussed on Connext that I've found was pretty exceptional from a corporate point of view, encouraging people to go on and have a sabbatical, right? So how was this topic being discussed, and where do we get from here if we think about sabbaticals? So what are the learnings here?
I think for us a sabbatical is really, really important, so to say, refresh your mindset. And if I can tell you a little secret, even in HR we have it in our success profile. So when you had a sabbatical, this break, is this also a positive point? because we think it's good that people reset. I have a very good colleague, she's one of our strongest talents. She's now taking a sabbatical, 3-month sabbatical before she takes over a new position. Yeah. So also to say, get a distance again, to recharge, to recap. And I think this is really, really important. So sabbatical is nothing like, for people, people might have prejudices. This is for people who do not want to work or don't want to have a career. I think the opposite is the case. People are very conscious and aware of themselves and really to find the best for themselves and to concentrate and focus then on the next step. And like Dirk already mentioned, we can imagine also in the future innovation sabbaticals. To use this really in a kind of startup mentality for new ideas, for new business opportunities. I think there's a lots of possibilities. Sabbaticals for more learning, to get another degree, to make a certification, to make a vocational training, even for people who are a little bit older, who do not have a formal qualification yet. So there are so many possibilities in which we want to bring together. So sabbatical for us, it's something positive. And we have even top managers, doing this, and they continued their top career afterwards. So it's not a, so to say, career stop. Not at all.
Not at all. Again, quite the opposite. The discussion that we had and that we saw was, it's a planning topic. You need to plan this, exactly. Of course, especially when it comes to management positions, it's a really good idea to plan the sabbatical or the free time of your sabbatical in terms of a job change or so. The other thing that we discussed is, isn't that something only for people with high income? Because of course you have to afford. And
so what did people say about this?
People said not at all, because the structure that we are structuring these sabbaticals makes it extremely flexible. It's not fixed that you lose a certain percentage of your income, so people can adjust the structure of the sabbatical according to their needs. And I think that makes it very attractive, especially or also for production area. And we already have seen cases, or we have cases in production area where people on an annual basis take some kind of a sabbatical where they save up some time during the year to have more vacation with their kids during a long summer break. And this is not only German topics, this is across the world. We have seen that in France, for instance. We have seen this in South America and Southeast Asia. So I'm pretty positive that this will really work. The concept of sabbatical in some countries is pretty new. At the same time, the discussion in the implementation team was extremely constructive, because people said, hey, this is a good proposal, and this is something that really makes us attractive in the market. And coming back to attractive, maybe to share this, because I found this extremely impressive. A colleague from Czech Republic said, hey, when we have implemented all this, we are better than Skoda. Full stop.
But I think it's something coming back. It's a question what idea people have in their heads. Yeah. They think about a sabbatical means 1 year you're going to be not in your job, But sabbatical can be 3 months, can be a longer vacation. So there's so different models. We only have to be open with our ideas to say, okay, what is possible?
Yeah. So do you think about a sabbatical yourself?
Always. Right now,
let dreams come true.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally we had all this great engagement, right? Mm-hmm. You pointed out. So let's look ahead. What is coming next? And how do you proceed with the implementation of more flexible working conditions at Continental?
First of all, the implementation phase for the policies and procedures that we need to put in place in these 21 countries will be more or less finalized within the first couple of weeks 2017. So this big project, which is a huge effort, will then come to a formal end. However, it doesn't stop there, because it's not about policies, it's not about regulations, it's not about am I entitled to take a sabbatical or what. It's about the culture, how we work together, the culture, how we communicate, and how we organize our work. So, and this is a change process that is going on, and I only can encourage everybody to keep up the discussion, the good discussion that we already have, and share his or her opinion in order to bring this to a successful, not an end, it's a successful future, to put it that way. And the other topic, what we already decided, is coming back to shop floor. Because when we started this project, a lot of people said us, guys, don't forget the shop floor, and they are right.
Yeah.
In both dimensions, because it's in the interest of the people, but it's also in the interest of the company, when it comes, for instance, to sickness rate or whatever. Sometimes the same guys told us, what you are doing here doesn't work for shop floor. And partially they are right, of course, as well. So what we started is a separate new approach where we specifically look at our shop floor people, looking at what kind of examples, how can we support flexible working conditions also in shop floor. And it will be not the way that we come from the green table, so to say.
There are some good ideas
and
already
and just throw something
also.
over the fence. Exactly, we collect ideas that are already in place or already topics that are already used, like the sabbatical structure that I just showed, and then we will create a toolbox on that and deploy that from there.
But I have to say, I talked to some location heads in Regensburg, for instance, and also in Korbach, and they are really open and they come up with their own ideas, you know, together with the Works Council. There's a lot of creativity, and what I really appreciate, there also is a lot of will and, so to say, also, I think, passion also to change things and to drive things forward for the best of our people in the organization. And I think this is exactly the right thing to do, because if we just keep like we are and stay where we are going to lose track, and this is what we don't want to do. So, you know, I always say there is no idea which is stupid. So come up with ideas, let's discuss, and we will see what is feasible. You know, be creative, think out of the box, you know, paradigms have to be broken. Let's see what we can do. And
even if an idea is not feasible now, it might be in the future. Think of Industry 4.0. So maybe a topic doesn't work right now, but 5 years, 8 years from now, we should have it in our drawer, just pull it out and then make it happen.
Well, I couldn't find different words to put it better, because this is, well, an invitation to go on. I would say what we've seen the last 3 months and discussed here is something that is really encouraging to go on. From my external point of view, I can only say I don't know any companies at your size, at Continental, doing this already, doing this with a passion and, well, going out of their comfort zones, right? So if you leave me this personal comment, I would love to see this going on. And yeah, from my point of view, Ariane, Dirk, thank you for being guests. I hope this continues. I hope we meet again wherever, maybe here, maybe somewhere else. And from my point of view, yeah, I can say thank you to all of you, because you were the success factor in this engagement campaign. And it's your success. So you have my respect, and go for it, right?
So also from my side, from our side, thanks again. You are the success factor for this campaign, but in general, you're the success factor of this company, that the company is successful. I personally wish you and your families a happy Christmas, a Merry Christmas. Try to recap, try to recharge your batteries. I will take this time personally. I'm really looking forward, counting the days. So really to take a break with your family, with your beloveds, and then have a happy new year. And then we will see each other next year, and I'm really curious how we're going to continue our success story if it comes also to flexibility.
And we will continue it.
We will continue.